Hi, folks. Welcome to another episode of Gol Bezan. It's been crazy this past 4 years. This is our 98th episode. Today we'll be discussing a few things. First, we're just kind of briefly just talking about the Asian Champions League final, and then talking about the upcoming matches and the previous match that Iran just had against Trinidad and Tobago. Joining with me is two members of Gol Bezan, Pejman Aparsa and Arya Aloverdi. Pejman, how you doing today?
Hi Pasha, nice to be back once again. How are you doing?
Awesome. Arya, how you doing?
Hi guys, good to be back.
Awesome. Guys, obviously, the Asian Champions League final has just passed, and we're not going to get into the gist of it, but it was just fantastic to see, after so many years, to see an Iranian team finally make it. As we know, we had a discussion with Bronco during the summer, and he basically laughed when I asked him why Iranian team struggled, and he basically was. It's amazing now that he got his team to the final. What can we take out of this for the future? Is it a big positivity for us? And just if I could get your thoughts on that, and starting right now with Arya.
Yeah, it's good. It's good for the clubs in Iran to have a team that's done well in this tournament that we haven't had in quite a long time. I think the last time was Zoban making the final, and I think of course it would have been nice for them to win it, but it's good that we have teams like Tiraktor Sazi and Esteghlal, Sepahan, who are doing quite well now in the league. So maybe not Esteghlal. I think Sepahan and Tiraktor are doing quite well. I think it's good for them to look towards this competition next year and try and win it. So yeah, it's a good stepping stone for Iranian clubs that they've gone to the final.
Pejman?
Yeah, I agree. And let's not forget the way that Persepolis went to the final with this ban of buying players. So they've been, 2 or 3 transfer windows without the opportunity of getting new players, and with that squad, it's an impressive run. They did well against real tough teams, but at the end, Kashima Antlers from Japan were the better side over 2 games.
Awesome. So now let's talk about before we talk about the match that we just had against Trinidad and Tobago, that Iran won with Karim Ansari's goal and just joined such a historic club as well, Nottingham Forest. Is that what do you guys think about the new call-ups? Obviously, we lack a lot of depth because we have a lot of players injured that couldn't unfortunately make it. But what did you think about? Was surprising. Obviously, I think it's just he called up Kanani. My personal belief is just because of the lack of depth that we have right now. What are you guys' thoughts about the man team that pretty much Carlos Queiroz called up on Pejman?
Well, I was happy to see Torabi getting a start. I think he deserves to be in the starting lineup. And now, I mean, not for the World Cup, sorry, for the Asian Cup, but right now, I think he needs to prove that he should be one of those guys that gets subbed in every game. And in the defense, the thing is, maybe we're getting too cocky, but I'm not that worried about if it's Kanoni or maybe Khalilzadeh or maybe somebody else playing there with not that much experience. I think our number 1 and 2 there would be Majid Hosseini and Paul Ali Ganji. So whoever is going to play there now, play like Kanoni, he's getting playing minutes just to be ready if Hosseini or Mortez or Paul Ali Ganji won't be able to start. Otherwise, for the starting 11, as you said, we had a lot of players that will probably start in the Asian Cup that wasn't regular, that wasn't starting. So it was really interesting to see how those players managed to try to improve their the chances of getting a starting position in Asian Cup. And for me, I have to say I'm pleased with most of the players. I think they were doing good. They were playing against a team that is weaker than Iran, and that's maybe will be the case for Iran in the group stage for sure. Maybe even in the up to the quarterfinals. So it's important that Iran can be a team that plays against weaker teams and is able to create chances and try to make the best out of them. And maybe we'll talk about that later, but 1-0 against Trinidad and Tobago, on the paper, it isn't that impressive. But the game, for me, it was a step the right way, because Iran showed that they're capable not just to be a good defending team, but also to be able to hold on to the ball and create opportunities. And I think they did that quite well, actually.
We're gonna talk about obviously the analysis of the match. But Arya, what did you think about the people that Carlos Queiroz called up on? Anybody notable that you think that he possibly might have left out that you might have wanted to see?
Yeah, I mean, as you said, Pasha, we've got a lot of injuries at the moment. Pourali Ganji, Jalan Bash, Montazeri, of course, also injured. I think it's really made it hard for him to call up a squad that is going to have a lot of top players in. I think one of the things Queiroz does when he calls up a squad is he looks at the players that first of all are in his matrix, that he calls it, his list of players that he has. And he calls, like Cannoni was called up before the World Cup against Togo, and he was in the matrix, but he was like one of the sixth, seventh tier centre backs. And now that Montazeri and Pourali Ganji are injured, he's come in. And actually, I was quite impressed with him when he played against Trinidad and Tobago. I thought he was a lot better than Cheshmi in a lot of aspects of the game. When you asked me about players that he's not called up, I think if you look at the league at the moment, if anyone who follows the league at all in Iran, there's a couple of good young players who have done well over the maybe the last 2 seasons. In particular, the goalkeeper for Sepahan, Payoumeni Osman, who I've been really impressed by even when he was like a lot younger. I think he's done really well, and this season, Sepahan, I think they're now maybe second in the league, third in the league. And he's been one of the best goalkeepers in the league. And it's surprising that he wasn't considered, even when Hossein Hosseini hasn't really played much this season. He's been almost second choice to Rahmati, who's not even part of the national team fold anymore. So that's one of the things I'm kind of questioning is sort of Hossein Hosseini's call up. Another one is Masud Choudhury, who, as much as I understand, he's one of our most experienced players. He offers La Liga experience, Greek league experience. He's played at some of the best teams within those countries. But unfortunately, if you watch him play for his team in Iran, he hasn't been doing at all well to a standard that you would expect from a national team captain. So I don't know. I think that's a little bit of a strange call up. There are players who, in my opinion, could have been called up ahead of him, but it's not happened. I think that Queiroz is looking at more. He's more looking at the players that he knows, and the players that he knows will immediately understand the tactics. And they don't have to. If he calls out a new player, that player will have to get used to the tactics. It'll take a lot of time, and there's only about 3 or 4 months left until the Asian Cup, so there's not a lot of time to bring new players in. So I think it's smart in that part, but I think you could offer a chance to some new players.
Right, now I'm going to disagree with you about Masud Choudhury. I'm going to pass it on to Pejman if he agrees with me on this. I feel like with the situation that we're in right now, with the lack of depth, and especially Saidez Atulai possibly might not be able to make it, to the Asian Cup, and with the lack of depth that we have not only in the center back position but in the center mid. I mean, who else would I realistically line up alongside Omid Ebrahimi, even if he starts in the Asian Cup? If he'll be our potential starter again, like he was at the World Cup. So I believe that also in the sense that Masud Choudhury brings a lot of leadership. A lot of these young players look up to him. And in our team right now, besides Dejaga and him, I mean, who honestly is the leader, from like a huge standpoint that these players actually look up to. So I feel like that's why that he I feel like Masud Choudhury brings a lot off the pitch, towards our guys. So what do you think about this discussion, Pejman?
Yeah, this is really interesting, and this is something that people need to know about Iranian football if they don't already know. We can all agree that Masud Choudhury is maybe best. He has probably his best years, not in front of him. They were like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe even more. But the thing is, with Iranian football, it's not just about who is the best football player. In Iran, and maybe the Iranian society as well, it's really important that you have people with strong character, good leaders off the pitch, somebody that can hold the squad together and introduce as well new players and taking care of the relations with media, the relations with the coach, the relations with the rest of the football family. And for me, Masoud Choudhury have become that symbol. Um, to be honest, he's not. Maybe he shouldn't even start any of the games in the Asian Cup. Maybe he will start one game or so. But his role in the national team has become so much more, so much bigger than just being a football player. And in maybe any other country would say like, who cares? We want the best 11 players. But Iran, with all the problems and all the struggles that we have to deal with every day, um, somebody like Masoud can ease in that burden for maybe some of the younger players, some of the more inexperienced players. So uh, he, that's why he should be in the squad. So maybe he says, okay, maybe it's a shame because he'll take the place for a younger, better football player. But in general, his role and meaning for the national team, I mean, I think after Kairosh is probably the most important one, and that's a big deal for me.
Right.
So I don't know. That's what I think.
Okay.
I want to add because obviously if you look at the squad he's called up this camp, he's called up for the midfield. He's called up Ibrahimi, Dejaga, Shojai, Vaid Amiri, and Godus, and Nurulai. So 6 players he's called up. In the last camp, he also had Ali Karimi and Izzatullahi. So he's obviously 2 players have been dropped. So that was 8 centre midfielders he had. He's obviously dropped it down to 6, and he's not really brought in anyone to replace Izzatullahi or Karimi. So to me, that it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's like horrible that he's not called anyone up to replace them, but to me, the issue will come if we don't if somebody gets injured again, then we're gonna be very, very lacking in terms of experience on the pitch for the national team. Of course, Shojai will offer that, and that's great because he'll be in the squad. He'll give the young players the chance to express themselves. But we have to have players within the squad also, alongside the Jaga, alongside Shojai Hoisafi, to really grow. And I think it's important that it happens now. But hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully we don't get any more injuries and we can have Izzatullahi fit for the Asian Cup and ready to go.
And also, I just want to say another leader on our team that just came across my mind. Congrats on 100 caps is Ehsan Ahad Safi. Okay, guys, now let's talk about the Trinidad Tobago game that we won 1-0 with goal of Kenny Mansarifat. So let's just talk about the lineup that Carlos Queiroz had for this match, and let's just get your thoughts about it and the analysis of what you guys made out of it. So in goal, we had Hosseini. Right back was Ghafouri. Our 2 center backs were Cheshmi and Kanani, and left back was Ehsan Ahad Safi. In midfield, we had Nurulai, Shojai, and I'm assuming that Torabi and Amiri were on the wings, and then Rezai and Ansarifat up top. So, starting with you, Pejman, what did you think about the lineup? And another thing that surprised me is that Ehsan Hoitsevi keeps playing as a left back, which I still believe that Milad Mohammadi should be our starting player in that position. It's just weird to me that he still started Ehsan in that position. And props to Kanani, he's back in the lineup. And what you made out of the lineup?
Yeah, well, the lineup, as I mentioned before, is a good opportunity for those players that we know that won't probably start in the Asian Cup to show themselves. Otherwise, I agree with you with the issue of Milad versus Ehsan. I think they're good enough for both of them to start. And against weaker teams, I think we need more offensive players such as Milad Mohammadi on the left side. So hopefully we will see Milad on the left side and maybe Hassan in the middle, just in the World Cup next to Saeed, or maybe starting on the bench. I don't know, but Hassan is a favorite of Carlos Queiroz, and I can't see him starting on the bench. For the other players in the starting lineup, the interesting ones for me and that I wanted to look at a bit more was Kaveh Rezai and Torabi. because those are maybe Kave is the one that is closest to become a regular for those players that we know probably won't start. Kave is a personal favorite of mine. I think he's one of our best forwards, and we saw that last season in Charleroi, and how he started in Club Brugge before he got injured. The thing with Corbett that I like is that I think he is good in on anything in every area. He's good with his head. He's good on finding space. He got a decent shot. He works really hard. He's got pace. He got speed. But maybe he's not like super good in something. He's good at everything. But take if you compare him to Osmoon, Osmoon is a beast with his heads. I mean, for me, he's one of the best I've ever seen. He's the way he's in the air is like the time freezes, but he's still up there. It's I'm impressed with that. But I don't think the way Kobe played, even if it was decent, I don't think that would make him a starter in the Asian Cup. For me, at this moment, Osmoon and Ansari Fard are above him. But Torabi is always interesting. I think every time you see Torabi playing, he's always doing the right things. Even when he makes a mistake, when you see it, it's like he tried to take care of that mistake and do something good about it, and that's what I like about him. I think he's a hard-working talent. So that's shortly from my side about the starting 11. I think we'll see a much different, a much stronger 11 against Bolivia. No, sorry, against Venezuela on Wednesday, the 20th of November.
Right, and speaking about what Pejman added to Ario, do you agree with him that potentially that we might see? It seems like Ansari Fire might be the striker for now, even potentially both of them up top in the Asian Cup, because it's kind of disappointing to know that Osmoon, even with the offers that he probably had and how much he's kind of has regressed himself from all these opportunities. What do you make out of this conversation? What were your thoughts on the team?
Just quickly about the Venezuela match. That's on Tuesday, and it'll be played in Doha. But yeah, no, about the team. It was good game. Good game in terms of we had a lot of possession, had a lot of chances. We didn't really give them a chance to really shoot on goal. I think we in general we played all right. I think it was a good game for Nurulahi's debut. Shojai, doing okay in that game. I think everyone did all right. One of the things that you brought up was Hoysek playing the left back. I think Hoysek will play there from now on. I think he'll be a left back from now on. I think the reason for that is because in the midfield, if actually to just quickly correct it, we played a 3-man midfield. It was Nurulahi, and then either side of him was Amiri and Shojari. Ansari Fire played as a left winger, and then it was Torabi right winger, and then it was Coverizai up front. So I think the midfield we saw Nurulahi do well. I think we saw Amiri doing quite well. It's quite hard for Hoysavi to play in midfield now because first of all, for his club in Iran, he's playing as a left back. He's playing as a left back for his team in Greece, and I think that now it's pretty much a given that it'll be between him and Milad for left back for sure. I think the two centre backs, Karni and Cheshmi, did good. I think Cheshmi for me will eventually get dropped because he's just not doing it for me at the moment. Cheshmi is a player who lacks confidence. He lacks a bit of cutting edge in terms of defending. He's not ready to get stuck in. You have to be. You see players like Majid Hosseini and Montesa Ganju who are ready to get stuck in and get challenges in. I don't see Cheshmi wanting to make a challenge, trying to tackle someone, trying to win the ball back. He doesn't have that commitment. And as a defender, if you don't have that, you're not ready to play as a defender. So I think I want to see more from him. I think it's just not good enough. For a player like him, you need to see more. Clever Azai was good. He had a lot of chances. He could have scored a goal himself. But hopefully, I think a man of the match for me would go to Torabi for sure. Torabi was unbelievable. He really did a lot of work on the right hand side, and caused a lot of issues.
When I was in Iran this summer, and what was interesting for me was just how highly the people at Saipa at the time were talking about Torah B, and how I believe that he'll be a potential player that could potentially play in Europe, and hopefully that will happen. And because he's just really straightforward, he's just direct. He doesn't try to play fancy football or anything, and he's very direct, and you gotta appreciate that style of play from him. Now, looking at this match that we're going to play in Qatar against Venezuela, it's going to be pretty good friendly with the players at Venezuela obviously having the physicality of us versus the physicality of them. Who do you guys hoping to see play, and what do you guys think would be the most key thing to get out of this friendly? Pejman.
Venezuela is a good team. They're in the same ranking as Iran. I think one above Iran. They have some good players. Like Rondon and I think Rincon and some are good names, decent players, and I think that will be Iran's toughest game before the Asian Cup. The players that I want to see Salman Ghodus because I think we're all expecting or more or less demanding him to start at the Asian Cup. I want to see Mehdi Taremi. Qatar is his home base. I think he likes it. He knows it quite well, and I think even if he's easy to make fun of, his record in the national team is really good. He's good with the ball. He's actually hardworking, and we saw that in the World Cup. At least he was really good both in the defense and in the offense. And with a bit of luck, he could have scored that magic goal against Portugal. I want to see him. I want to see more of Olizade. I think he's a really interesting and fun player with great speed on the ball, and he needs to show that more. Since this will be Iran's hardest game, whoever that will perform really bad might actually lose his place, even if it's just a friendly. So for me, I don't want to see. To be honest, I don't want to see Ashkan Nejage if he's just there for a morale boost or whatever. Even if he's been playing now in Interaktor after 100 years, I probably don't want to see Masoud Choujai in the starting 11 either. If he's just gonna be in the squad as a morale boost as well, I want to see as close as possible to the starting 11 that we will have in Asian Cup, even if we have some of our key players injured. So those I mentioned, I want to see them play. So let's hope Carlos will listen to me.
Yeah, so that's fantastic to hear. And Arya, is there anything you would like to add?
Yeah, so I think based on the game that we just saw, I think I can almost pretty much go by what we will see in the starting lineup against Venezuela, because obviously we're playing in the stadium that both Khanzadeh and Ibrahimi play in. So I'm expecting Khanzadeh to start next to Majid Hosseini at the back in the base of defence. I think we'll miss Bayron Band and Nurullahi for that game because they have a league match on the 19th, I think. So they will miss the match against Venezuela. So I think we'll probably expect Abudzadeh to start and goal. Amir Abudzadeh. I think he deserves it as well. I think we'll have a back four of Muharrami or maybe Reza Yan, Khanzadeh, Majid Hosseini, and maybe Milad Mohammadi coming back in to left back. I think the midfield three we'll see Ghodus, we'll see Ibrahimi, and maybe even Amiri as well starting another game. I think the front three is most likely going to be Olizade, Osman, and Taremi. So it's going to be a good match. I think we played them last year. We beat them 1-0. Jahanbach scored in that game. He's missing, so he won't be able to score this time. But I think we can win the game, and I think we can do it with ease if we play a good team and we play a really attacking style of football. I think we can easily win the match against Venezuela.
Yeah, I would like to add one more thing to you guys, which what's really interesting to me is that looking at the amount of depth we have in goalkeeping position, right back right now, left back, not so much in center mid, depending on how you want to argue with it, but the wings definitely, and then our forwards. I mean, it's phenomenal. It's like it amazes me how much depth we have in those positions and the players that we have now actually are playing in Europe. And another thing that I just want to add to this, which I was just gonna ask you guys, is now looking at the right back position. That Ghafouri played last match, Reza Yan, which I want to get your thoughts on. He downgraded, I think, huge. He had offers from Europe, and I guess because of his ego and stuff, that it just didn't work out for him. He just basically became his own enemy, and now he's playing in Qatar, which I think, after that performance he had in World Cup, despite what you think about, Reza Yan, I mean, he definitely should have made the higher move. He deprived himself in that sense. And then you have Mohamed Me, which he's doing fantastic as well. You got that competition going on. You got the question of Milad Mohammadi and Ehsan, who's going to be in that position. I think that will just come down more to tactics. I feel like the reason why now, when I think about it more, is that Ehsan played as a left back, was Carlos Taylor trying to give more options to those players like Torabi and stuff, and Noor Ali to play more in the center midfield kind of position, in the three. So what do you guys think about this depth, and especially looking at the right back position with the battle between Ghafouri, Rezaian, and Mohamed now coming through? It's very interesting to me, and I just want to get your thoughts on that, Pejman.
I agree with you and everything you said, Pasha. It's a really interesting fight we have in several positions. And the right back, a position that we had previously had a hard time to find players. Just remember in World Cup 2014, I think Pedro Montazeri, that's not even a right back, had to play in that position.
Exactly.
And now all of a sudden we have three decent players to choose from. Ghafouri that's done quite good lately. Moharami, with this move to Croatia and Dinamo Zagreb, really upgraded himself and made his create his opportunity to be a player for the starting 11. And Reza Yan, that is a really offensive player, and he's got a decent touch, and he did really well in the World Cup. So uh, for me, if I had to choose between one of them right now, it's tough. I would probably go with Reza Yan, maybe because for his experience, and I think he'll do good. But I won't get mad if he won't start, because just as you said, Pasha, his stupid way of dealing with his new choosing his new club have put him in a position that he might actually lose his place in the starting 11, because he now plays in not even one of the best teams in Qatar, and they lost, I think, last week 5-1 or something, even if he scored. But uh, Ghafouri, that's even if Esteghlal have been playing kind of poorly, not getting the results, he's been playing, and he's been an important player. And Moharami moving to Europe, that's maybe more or less enough for Queiroz to make yourself much more interesting player. So whoever starts there, I think will do quite well. And as you mentioned in the goalkeeping situation, I'm getting more and more fond of Abedzadeh.
Yeah.
It's really nice to see his name in the starting 11 week in week out in Portugal, uh, seeing the highlights. And he's not the tallest goalkeeper, he's probably the shortest one in the squad amongst the goalkeepers, but his experience now is is far better than all of the other goalkeepers combined in, even, okay, maybe Berenland and Asian Champions League and the World Cup. Yeah, maybe that experience is good, but for how long can he deny Abedzadeh a place in the starting 11? That's my question. I think if uh, Abedzadeh Berenland will get injured sooner or later, he might not get that position back very easily from Abedzadeh. So I'm happy with the depth that we have. We need some healthy competition.
I think we discussed this in the one of the last podcasts. It was me, I was citing for Bayron Van, you two were citing for Abuzadeh. I still have to disagree. I don't think Abuzadeh will be a starter for Iran when Bayron Van's in the squad. I just don't see it. Like, I think he's a good goalkeeper, and I think the experience he's getting in Portugal is fantastic. I think he's doing so well to keep a good goalkeeper out of the start, who's in the Maritimo squad, Charles, who's a good Brazilian keeper. But I just don't see it. Like, I get it. He's a great keeper, but Bayron Van's just at another level. For me, he's.
I agree. But Arya, this is the same thing that happened to Hariri and Bayron Van. We couldn't see Bayron Van coming and taking that place, even if we thought that he was good. And look at the positions now. It's
but I don't think Hariri was that good. I think Bayron was a better keeper than Hariri, but I don't think Abuzadeh is as good as Bayron Van. That's the thing. I think Bayron Van is better than both of them. I mean, experience wise, I think you could argue either way. But I think as a goalkeeper,
I think what Pejman is more alluding to is that despite of how good goalkeeper you're gonna be, it's also your mentality. If Amir Abedzadeh is taking the initiative to, I mean, let's just go recap. I mean, from where he got to where he's at right now, and then, you know, how well he's doing with the mentality that he's going to keep pushing through. I mean, I'm pretty sure Carlos Queiroz is going to be like, because of his mentality, I'm going to give him the starting position too. I mean, that's something that, you know, because he pushes himself. I mean, Abedzadeh keep pushing. I mean, are we going to see Bayron Van honestly making the move to Europe? Probably not, you know. And then, but if Amir Abedzadeh makes the move to a higher team, which is very likely happening this summer, maybe even in the upcoming window, you know, I mean, can Carlos Queiroz still say no to him? You know, because what he's doing is profoundly amazing to me. You know, from where he started out in the Portuguese in the third league to be Maritimo's first team goalkeeper, making himself a bench in the World Cup, and now, you know, saving penalties against one of the top teams, FC Porto, that they won the league last year. I mean, it's just amazing to me. And then you got to give a lot of credit for his mentality. And I feel like, end of the day, Carlos Queiroz sometimes it's just going to come down to the mentality of the player, that this is how much he wants. I'm going to give it to him, you know. And another thing,
absolutely, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right in saying that if he if he goes to a top team in Portugal, there's no doubt in my mind that he could easily be a starter for Iran. The thing is, Bayron Van at the moment, he's playing Persepolis, and that's not good enough, and we know that. And I think that it's not good enough, and I think that he has to go to Europe. I think once he goes to Europe,
come down to, and I think that's going to come down to, that Carlos Queiroz is going to be like, you know, regardless of goalkeeper on. Bayron Van on paper might still be a goalkeeper with his experience, but he's still gonna opt for Bayron Van. And this is gonna go for every single player, and this is why that even Pejman alluded to about that he sees that maybe Reza and Sarifar are gonna start over Osman, is because look at where Osman could have been, and look at where those players are, you know. And Sarifar never even once complained when he was sitting on the bench this whole time throughout the, you know, even the last Asian Cup. You know, so a lot of huge debate, a lot of interesting points, guys, and we're gonna wrap this episode.
Similar argument. Sorry, just to interrupt quickly. A similar argument to that is also Hoysafi and Milad Mohammadi. Milad Mohammadi playing in Russia. Hoysafi's playing in Iran. You know, so I get it. Like I say, the ability level, but also the experience. It could go either way for the player.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that one is just more down to mental. I think that between those two, I think that's more tactical as opposed to who's the better player at the moment. But anyways, guys, thank you for doing this as always, and hopefully the listeners will enjoy this episode of Gol Bezan as well. You guys should check out us on Twitter, Gol Bezan, at Facebook at Gol Bezan, our website, golbezanpodcast.com. The emails of all the members of the team are on there, and then our general email is mail@golbezanpodcast.com. Reach out to us anytime if there's anything you guys wanted to talk to us about or whatever. We get plenty of emails in that sense. Thank you guys for listening to this episode. Pejman, Arya, always a pleasure.
Thanks, guys. Let's hope for a good game against Venezuela.
Appreciate it.